Hello everyone, this is Dr. Rakshita. In this session, I'll be discussing about the inflammatory diseases and different tumors of ureter and urinary bladder. The outline of this session is as follows. First, I'll be discussing about the inflammatory diseases, which are ureteritis, cystitis, both acute cystitis and chronic cystitis, and a special form of chronic cystitis called as cystitis follicularis, followed by malakoplakia. Then we'll be moving on to tumors. So we'll discuss about transitional cell tumors, squamous cell carcinoma and adenocarcinoma. So let's start with inflammatory diseases. Inflammation of the tissues of the lower urinary tract is very common. So ureteritis, it is the inflammation of the ureters. It's called ureteritis. Infection of the ureter is almost always secondary to pyelitis above or cystitis from below. Ureteritis is usually mild, but repeated and long-standing infection will give rise to chronic ureteritis. Cystitis. Inflammation of the urinary bladder is called as cystitis. Primary cystitis is rare because the normal bladder epithelium is quite resistant to infection. Cystitis may occur either by spread of infection from the upper urinary tract following renal tuberculosis or may spread from the urethra, such as after any instrument. Etiology of cystitis is as follows. The common pathogenic organism causing cystitis is Escherichia coli, followed by Enterobacter, Klebsiella, Pseudomonas and Protease. In immunosuppressed patients, Candida albicans also causes cystitis. Parasitic infestations with Schistosoma hematobium is common in Middle East countries. Chlamydia and Mycoplasma may also cause cystitis. Cystitis is more common in females than in males. In males, prostatic obstruction is a frequent cause of cystitis. Coming to symptoms, it usually presents as a triad of increased urinary frequency, dysuria, and lower abdominal pain. Sometimes there will be systemic manifestations of bacteremia such as fever, chills, and malaise. Coming to morphological features, cystitis may be acute or chronic. Acute cystitis. In this, the gross examination of the bladder will reveal the mucosa to be red, swollen and hemorrhagic. There may be suppurative exudate or ulcers on the bladder mucosa. The microscopic examination reveals edema and congestion of the mucosa, and there will be intense neutrophilic exudate in the lamina propria. So here this is the gross image of the bladder. So the mucosa here is red, that is, it is hyperemic and it is congested. This is the microscopic image of the urinary bladder. So here we can see the transitional epithelium. So below that there is lamina propria and there is lot of neutrophilic inflammatory cell infiltrate. So this is a case of acute cystitis. And we can also see areas of hemorrhage. Chronic cystitis. Repeated attacks of acute cystitis will lead to chronic cystitis. On gross examination, the mucosal epithelium is thickened. It is red and granular with formation of polypoid masses. Long-standing cases will show thickening of the bladder wall and shrunken cavity. On microscopic examination, there will be ulceration of the mucosa, and lamina propria and muscular coat will show fibrosis and infiltration of chronic inflammatory cells. This is the gross image of chronic cystitis. The bladder wall is thickened. The mucosal epithelium, we can see it is red, granular, and there is formation of polypoid masses. This is the microscopic image. So here we can make out the mucosa is ulcerated. Then in the lamina propria, which is underneath, we can see there is infiltration of chronic inflammatory cells, predominantly lymphocytes. We can also see few plasma cells. So next, cystitis follicularis. It is a form of chronic cystitis. In this, there will be formation of lymphoid follicles in the bladder mucosa on microscopic examination. So this is the microscopic image. So here we can see the epithelium, which is lined by transitional type, and we can see in the lamina propria there are lymphocytic follicles with germinal centers. So next, moving on to malakoplakia. So malakoplakia, it is a rare condition which frequently is found in the urinary bladder, but it can also be seen in other tissues like ureter, kidney, testes and prostate, and occasionally also in the gut. So etiology, it occurs due to the persistence of chronic inflammation and with defective phagocytic process by the macrophages. Malakoplakia occurs more frequently in immunocompromised patients and in patients of transplant recipients. Coming to the morphology of malakoplakia, on gross examination, the lesions appear as soft, flat, yellowish, slightly raised plaques on the bladder mucosa. They may vary from 0.5 to 5 centimeters in diameter. So this is the gross image of the bladder in case of malakoplakia. So here we can see multiple lesions which are flat, yellowish in color, appearing as raised plaques on the bladder mucosa. Microscopy of malakoplakia. There is massive accumulation of foamy macrophages with occasional multinuclear giant cells and some lymphocytes. These macrophages will have PAS positive cytoplasm, and some of these macrophages will contain cytoplasmic laminated concretion of calcium phosphate, which are called as Michaelis-Guttman bodies. So these Michaelis-Guttman bodies, ultrastructurally, they are the lysosomes which are filled with partially digested debris of bacteria which are phagocytosed by the macrophages, which have not been digested fully by them due to the defective phagocytic process. So this is the microscopic examination of malakoplakia. Here we can see the foamy macrophages which are present in sheets, and in between there is presence of laminated concretion of calcium phosphate. So these are Michaelis-Guttman bodies in between. Now moving on to tumors. Majority of lower urinary tract tumors are epithelial in origin. Both benign and malignant tumors occur, but malignant tumors are more common. About 90% of these malignant tumors of the lower urinary tract occur in the urinary bladder. Tumors of the urinary bladder. We have urothelial or epithelial bladder tumors. So these tumors arise from the transitional epithelium which is lining the urinary bladder. It can also arise from the epithelium lining the renal pelvis, ureters and major part of the urethra. Bladder cancers comprises about 3% of all the cancers. Most cases appear after 50 years of age. 3 times it is a higher preponderance in males than females. It's more common in urban than in rural dwellings. Coming to the etiopathogenesis of bladder cancer, first we have industrial occupations. Workers in industries that produce aniline dyes, rubber, plastic have high incidence of bladder cancer. These patients will develop cancer after a prolonged exposure for about 20 years. Metabolites which are mainly responsible are beta-naphthalamine and benzene. So second we have schistosomiasis. So patients who have infestation with Schistosoma hematobium of the bladder, they have increased risk of squamous cell carcinoma. Dietary factors, artificial sweeteners like coffee, caffeine and chronic alcoholism also have a role in the etiology of bladder cancer. Local lesions like ectopia vesicae, vesical diverticulum also increases the incidence of bladder cancer. Tobacco smoking is also associated with increased risk. Drugs like cyclophosphamide and analgesics also is associated with high risk of developing bladder cancer. Next we have cytogenetic abnormalities. Mutations in P53, retinoblastoma gene and P21 gene are associated with high rate of recurrence and metastasis of bladder cancer. Coming to morphologic features, on gross examination, urothelial tumors, it may be single or multiple. About 90% of these tumors are papillary, whereas 10% are flat lesions. The papillary lesions have free-floating fern-like arrangement with broad or narrow pedicle. The non-papillary tumors are bulkier with ulcerated surface. The common sites for bladder tumor are trigone, the region of ureteral orifices, and commonly on the lateral wall of the bladder. Coming to histology, epithelial tumors are of 3 types. Most commonly, about 90% of the cases, it will be transitional cell carcinoma. Then we have squamous cell carcinoma and adenocarcinoma. Transitional cell tumors. Approximately 90% of all the epithelial tumors of the bladder are transitional cell tumors. These neoplastic lesions are of 2 types. It can be flat neoplasm or papillary neoplasms. The urothelial lesions can be non-invasive or invasive. The different non-invasive urothelial lesions are as follows. First we have urothelial carcinoma in situ. Then we have papillary lesions like urothelial papillomas. papillary urothelial neoplasm of low malignant potential, which is called PUN lump, low grade papillary urothelial carcinoma, and high grade papillary urothelial carcinoma. The invasive urothelial lesion is called infiltrating urothelial carcinoma. Carcinoma in situ. It is characterized by anaplastic malignant cells which are confined to the layers superficial to the basement membrane of the bladder mucosa. The basement membrane will be intact and the malignant cells will be confined to the superficial layers. Carcinoma in situ is certainly a precancerous lesion. It is multifocal and sometimes it can involve most of the bladder surface. Without treatment, about 50 to 75% of the cases will progress to invasive cancers. This is the microscopic image. So here we can see the transitional type of epithelium, and the entire epithelium, that is the full thickness of epithelium, is showing dysplastic changes. The nucleus is enlarged, it is showing hyperchromatism, and there is also presence of mitotic figure which is indicated by the arrow. But these malignant cells are confined to the epithelium. The basement membrane is intact without any breach. So this is carcinoma in situ. Transitional cell papilloma is also called as urothelial papilloma. On microscopy, there will be presence of papillae which is composed of fibrovascular stromal core, and this papillae will be lined by transitional cells which is of normal thickness. The nuclear size and shape will be normal. The nuclear chromatin will be fine. Nucleoli will be absent and also mitosis will be absent. The umbrella cells will be usually present. So this is the microscopic image of the urothelial papilloma. Here we can see there are papillae which are finger-like projections which are lined by the normal urothelial cells of normal 6 to 7 layer thickness, and in the center there is presence of papillary core. So this is the microscopic image, the higher magnification showing the urothelial cells. So here we can see there is presence of umbrella cells. The urothelial cells are normal in size and shape, and there is no mitosis or there is no nucleoli in these cells. So this is a case of urothelial papilloma. Papillary urothelial neoplasm of low malignant potential, also called as PUN lump. Microscopy, here we can see papillae which is composed of fibrovascular stromal core, and this papillae will be lined by normal looking transitional cells. The nuclear size will be uniformly enlarged. The nuclear shape will be elongated round to oval, and all the cells will be uniform. Nuclear chromatin will be fine. Nucleoli is absent to inconspicuous. Mitosis will be rare, and if present, it will be present in the basal layer. Umbrella cells will be present. So this is the low power view microscopic image of papillary urothelial neoplasm of low malignant potential. Here we can see papillae which are composed of fibrovascular stromal core lined by transitional cells which are normal looking. The nucleus here, it is all uniformly enlarged. The shape is round to oval in the cells, and all the cells are looking uniform. Nucleoli is absent, and in few of the cells it is inconspicuous. Mitosis is not seen in this slide. So this is one more microscopic image, higher magnification of PUN lump. Here again we can see the papillae lined by urothelial cells. All the cells are uniformly enlarged, and there is inconspicuous nuclei in the cells. So next we have low grade papillary urothelial carcinoma. On microscopy, the papillae will be fused and branching. The cells lining the papillae will show minimal overcrowding. Minimal loss of polarity will be present, and these cells will be cohesive. The nuclear size will be enlarged, and there will be variation in the size. The nuclear shape will be round to oval, and again there will be variation in the shape of the nucleus. Nuclear chromatin will be fine. Nucleoli will be absent to inconspicuous. Mitosis will be occasional, and if present it can be at any level. Umbrella cells are usually present. So this is the microscopic image of non-invasive low-grade papillary urothelial carcinoma. So first image, it is the low power view. So here we can see the papillae lined by the urothelial cells, and in the center there is presence of fibrovascular core. higher magnification, here we can see the transitional cells which shows irregular nuclei in few of the cells. So here there is nucleomegaly and variation in the size of the cell and also variation in the nuclear details. And there is also presence of mitotic figure which is indicated by the arrow. High-grade papillary urothelial carcinoma. On microscopy, the papillae will be fused and branching. The cells will be disordered. There will be loss of polarity. The cells here will be discohesive. The nuclear size, the nucleus will be enlarged with variation in the size. Nuclear shape, there will be moderate to marked variation in the nuclear shape. Nuclear chromatin will show hyperchromasia. Nucleoli will be prominent. Mitosis will be frequent and it can be at any level. Umbrella cells are usually absent. So this is the hyper view of high-grade papillary urothelial carcinoma. So here we can see the papillae which is lined by urothelial cells. These cells are showing they're actually enlarged with variation in the size. There is marked nuclear hyperchromasia and most of the cells are showing the presence of nucleoli. And mitosis is also many and it is seen at in many levels. Umbrella cells, it is absent here. So next moving on to infiltrative urothelial carcinoma. Penetration of the basement membrane and subsequent invasion of tumor cells into the lamina propria or deeper levels occur in infiltrative urothelial carcinomas. There will be presence of irregularly distributed nests of urothelial cells in the stroma and there will be stromal response to the malignant cells. There will be fibrosis, inflammatory reaction, that is there will be desmoplastic changes in the stroma. High-grade urothelial carcinomas frequently are associated with invasive urothelial carcinomas. This is the microscopic image of invasive urothelial carcinoma. So here we can see the malignant urothelial cells which are arranged in sheets. These malignant cells are seen invading into the stroma which is also causing desmoplastic stromal reaction. These tumor cells are also seen infiltrating into the muscularis mucosa. So that's about the transitional cell tumors. So next moving on to the squamous cell carcinoma. Squamous cell carcinoma comprises about 5% of all the bladder carcinomas. These squamous cell carcinomas are sessile, nodular, infiltrating and ulcerating. And there is also association of schistosomiasis with squamous cell carcinoma. The carcinoma may be well differentiated with keratin pearl formation or it can be anaplastic. So next we have adenocarcinomas. Even adenocarcinomas of the bladder can occur but it is very rare. So these adenocarcinomas has association with exostrophy of the bladder which we have already seen, or it can also arise from the urachal rests. The tumor is characterized by glandular and tubular pattern with or without mucus production. Few words about the treatment of bladder cancer. The treatment entirely depends on the tumor grade and the state. For small localized papillary tumors, the initial transurethral resection is both diagnostic as well as therapeutic. And in patients who are having high risk for recurrence or progression, receive topical intravesical instillation of attenuated strain of tuberculosis bacilli, that is BCG. So this BCG will trigger local anti-tumor immune response. These patients must be closely monitored for tumor recurrence with periodic cystoscopy and urine cytologic studies for the presence of tumor cells. Radical cystectomy, it is reserved for tumor which is invading the muscularis propria or in high-grade papillary cancers. And finally, advanced bladder cancer is treated using chemotherapy which is palliative but it is not curative. So that's about the epithelial bladder tumors. Now let's see which are the non-epithelial bladder tumors. Non-epithelial bladder tumors can be benign or malignant. The benign non-epithelial bladder tumors are leiomyoma, neurofibroma, hemangioma and granular cell myoblastoma. The malignant non-epithelial bladder tumors are rhabdomyosarcoma. Tumors of ureters. Almost all tumors of the ureters are of epithelial origin, and these tumors are quite rare in the ureters. and if they are present, the microscopic gross feature, everything, they are all the same as it is seen in urinary bladder. So this is all about the inflammatory diseases and the tumors of ureters and urinary bladder. Thank you all.